Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us at our fall coffee chat. My name is Laura Shaw. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm the executive director at Metro Blooms. If you've joined us at these coffee chats before, typically our director of development, Jen, was leading these. She left at the end of September to pursue her own business. So I appreciate your grace, as this is kind of the first time that I have run our coffee chats for us. But before we get started, I wanted to just share a couple housekeeping items for our time together. The session is being recorded and will later be posted to our YouTube channel, and we'll also share it out in an email with everybody afterwards. Everyone should be muted right now. Please keep yourself muted during the program. We will have some time for Q&A at the end, and then invite everyone to unmute. If you want to change your view to speaker view, sometimes that helps just like highlight the person that's speaking and be able to focus them more on your screen, give you a bigger picture of what we're presenting. There is a button at the bottom of your screen to show closed captions if you want to turn them on. If you can't see it, it might be under More and called Captions. And as we go through the program, please use the chat to let us know if you can't see or hear something or have any questions at all. Like I said, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end, and would love to hear from you all in that space. So we always start our coffee chats and any other event we host with a land and labor acknowledgement. So I'm gonna just start sharing my screen again and start our presentation. And then I'm gonna pass it off to my coworker, Manny. Manny, you're muted if you're talking.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Manny Vasquez. Thank you, Laura, for passing it on. I'm an environmental and social justice coordinator. I'm at True Blooms on the community relations team, and I will be doing our land and labor acknowledgement. We are on the stolen homelands and treaty territory of the Dakota Oyate. Minnesota, the U.S. government, and European white colonizers carried out genocide, ethnic cleansing, and forced removal of the Dakota to acquire land and wealth. The Iowa, Ho-Chunk, Anishinaabe, and other indigenous nations have also called this region home. The waters and plants here have traditional, spiritual, and cultural significance to the indigenous peoples of this land who are still here stewarding them. We acknowledge the violent exploitation, trafficking, and enslaved labor of Africans and their descendants by white colonizers on these same stolen lands. Deeply rooted white supremacy continues to propagate injustices in health, wealth, and opportunity. Here and across the country, Black communities are segregated and displaced, disrupting traditions and relationships with land. We benefit greatly from the undervalued and co-opted contributions of Black communities who have made possible much of our country's economic and cultural growth. And thank you, everybody, for taking a moment to listen to that. And I'll pass it on.
Thanks, Manny. Appreciate you grounding us with that. So thank you again for being here. Again, my name is Laura Shaw, and I'm the executive director of Metro Blooms. I'm going to start by giving a quick overview of just Metro Blooms and some of our programming and kind of where we're at as an organization. This past year, we've really spent a lot of time working with our staff and our board to ensure that the words we use to describe our work really match the heart of who we are as an organization, and inspire us to reach for more. So you are some of the first people to see our new vision statement, which is Metro Blooms envisions a just future of thriving communities where all people connect with and care for the land, water, and diverse life around them. I love this vision. I think our prior vision was just we engage communities to protect clean water or something pretty generic. And this feels so much more representative of who Metro Blooms is and the way that we work and the language we use. And to achieve this vision, we partner with communities to create resilient landscapes and foster clean watersheds, embracing the values of equity and inclusion to solve environmental challenges. So what does that look like in our work? People come to us in a lot of different ways. We host workshops and meet a lot of people through those. We do planting events. We have volunteer events. We reach out to folks as donors. We also have a design build program, and people work with us as clients through that program. So I just want to take a moment to describe some of our main programs under Metro Blooms. So we are a nonprofit, and we believe that everybody has a right to clean air, land, and water, and also recognize that we don't all have the same access. And so much of our work takes place with communities that experience environmental injustice. For us, that means we work a lot with renters, with low income communities, and with communities that are predominantly people of color. And you'll hear from Layla and Jesus in a minute, but a lot of this work happens on the ground in partnership with community members, whether that's installing rain gardens, planting native plants, or supporting a diverse tree canopy, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. We work to make sure that resources to plant for clean water are available across Minnesota through our Blue Thumb education program. Blue Thumb is a statewide partnership and works to meet people where they're at, providing online resources. We do in-person workshops. We have an employment and training program to make sure that the folks that live in our communities are the first to benefit economically from the jobs that green infrastructure can create. And we also offer financial support through the statewide Lawns to Legumes program. So we're really trying to meet people with whatever resources they might be in need of to be able to support the environment that they live in. We also run a for-profit design build company, which I mentioned just briefly, but this company helps people plan and install native plantings and rain gardens at their homes and businesses, and also helps generate financial support for Metro Bloom's nonprofit. So if you are a design build client, know that in doing so, you are also supporting all of the mission work of Metro Bloom's nonprofit. So this is a really busy time of year for us. There's a lot going on as we try to like wrap up our season. So it's really nice to be able to spend a few minutes with you all this evening and take a step back and kind of look at the impact of our work.
I can get rid of it.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute. There we go. So jumping into our program, I'm going to pass it off to Layla Bacon, who is an environmental and social justice manager at Metro Blooms, and she is here to talk a bit about ash trees and how we support residents in their removal and replanting.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Layla, and I'm an EJSJ manager on the community relations team. And I'll be talking to you guys how to spot emerald ash borer and like what an ash tree looks like and what my project has been for the last year. If you go to the next slide. So our main focus for the project was um to help people in North Minneapolis who've been affected heavily with the emerald ash borer. So I'll be talking to you guys a little bit about the importance of trees in North Minneapolis. North Minneapolis is a heat island that experiences higher temperatures than surrounding areas. This is due to the lack of tree canopy we have. That is also due to the tornado we had a couple years back. And a lot of those trees weren't replanted, and a lot of those weren't replanted, and those happened to be ash trees. And now we're having a problem with taking those all down. Um, Trees can reduce the surface and the air temperatures. Trees provide shade and can cool our cities up to 10 degrees. North Minneapolis has the highest asthma rates in the state. Trees help improve our air quality, which reduce respiratory illnesses like asthma. Spending time around trees and looking at trees can also reduce stress and improve moods. I know when I sit under a tree or and by trees, makes me happy. The pictures shown on the left are pictures of the children's forest we planted like 2 to 3 years ago on Earth Day at North Commons. So if you guys are ever in that area, it's a pretty cool thing to check out. Um, Trees also connect us to the earth and support our connection to each other. Living around trees can increase our social interaction, making neighborhoods more likely or more lively and creating welcoming environments. Yeah. How to identify an ash tree. On the top right, I have three of the common ash trees that are in Minnesota. To spot an ash tree, you can spot them by the compound leaves they have, meaning each leaf is made out of multiple leaflets, typically there's 5 to 11 leaflets per leaf, which is below the tree pictures. The leaflets are arranged in pairs along the center stem, with a single leaf at the tip. The shapes of the leaves are generally egg-shaped or feather-shaped with smooth or slightly serrated edges. The pictures at the bottom show a mature ash tree on the left and a young ash tree on the right. As you can see, the young ash tree has a smooth gray bark with no ridges, which the mature tree has ridged edges that form like a diamond shape and is still kind of gray. I feel like that's the biggest thing I look at when identifying an ash tree is the shape on the bark. That helps me a lot. I feel like it's pretty unique that it has like the diamond shapes and the leaves in that formation. Yeah. Um, how to identify if you have emerald ash borer in your tree? If 1/3 of your leaves are gone or thinning at the top of your tree is how you can tell it's dying. Emerald ash borer kills the tree by eating the tissue under the bark. Every tree has dead wood, but if your tree has a lot of dead branches, it may indicate that your ash tree is infected by emerald ash borer. The larva tunnels under the bark, as you can see in the second picture. It forms like an S shape under the tree bark, which could look really cool, but it's a way to know that like the larva's in there eating away at the tree and that the tree is becoming dangerous. Sprouts growing from the base of the tree indicate that the tree is stressed out. Ash trees infested by emerald ash borer could become very fragile to like your homes and people and your property by falling branches. So I feel like getting the tree taken down as soon as possible is better financially than waiting for it to fall down by itself and possibly hurting you or your house. Also, if 1/3 of the trees at the top of your tree is gone, you can no longer treat the tree, which would probably be the best option than taking it down because I know a lot of people love their trees and would rather treat it to keep the tree alive than have to take it down, but they do become very dangerous. This year we got, or last year we got a grant from the DNR supporting us to take down 50 trees and to replant 50 trees. This year we supported the removals of 35 infested emerald ash borers for low-income participants across Minnesota, and we're able to replace those trees with 35 new Minnesota native trees. Different a lot of diverse trees, so we are making sure this doesn't happen again in a couple years, so we're not planting one of the same tree. I feel like that was the biggest problem. We are again partnering with a young adult crew called Helping Hands to replace each of these trees. Each of these trees with climate resistant trees. As you can see on the right is a picture of them planting at a house in North Minneapolis. They've also helped us plant our boulevards this summer. The middle picture also shows Daniel in a tree cutting down an ash tree last year, I believe. And the first picture is a picture of a presentation I have about emerald ash borer that goes more in depth about what it is that I gave for a couple of people who have been affected by emerald ash borer. And we were able to help a couple of those people after that presentation take down their ash trees or connect them with the city if we weren't able to help them and get their trees taken down. Thank you.
Layla. So we're going to hear briefly next from Jesus, who is an intern that has been working with us this year on our community relations team and has focused a lot of his time on learning about trees.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jesus Guate, and well, as a first year intern, I didn't fully understand what Metro Loop did until I experienced it firsthand. I've never had a job as unique and experienced as this one. It opened my eyes to work that I really enjoy. I learned that community work can have a big impact, even though something as small as planting a single pot. Being closer to the community also deepened my understanding of environmental justice and made me more aware in what's happening in my surroundings. Throughout my experience, one thing that really caught my attention was trees. I was amazed by how they contribute our community, cleaning the air, producing oxygen, storing carbon, and um, providing cooling effect. I had the opportunity to shadow Daniel, our local arborist, and spend a full day with him and his crew, visiting different sites, learning about trees, getting quizzed along the way, seeing open my eyes. I even learned that being an arborist is one of the dangerous jobs in the world. Hearing that, it made me more curious and and trying to learn more about trees and being an arborist. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jesus. It's been so great working with you this year. Um, and really great working with Daniel. So that's who we're going to hear from next. Daniel, who Jesus mentioned, is a community partner. And Daniel Thompson Tree Service is his company. He's an ISA certified arborist. We just started working with him last year after we talked to a number of arborists and finally found one that felt really like good and values aligned, and like a really great partner for Metro Bloom. So Daniel's here tonight to talk to us a bit more about ash trees and pruning and how to take care of your trees.
Hey, good evening. How's it going? I'm Daniel, the tree specialist here in Minneapolis. We've been around for about 18 years. My wife and I run a small business, and during the last 15 years or so, we have taken down quite a bit of ash trees. I mean, we first started with oaks and then went to elms, and then it's been hitting incredibly strong with the ash trees. Um, at the time, all the trees were being marked by the city. We were pretty much yeah, uh, yeah, they were all elms, but just got crazy with the ash trees. Um, let me see here. I've noticed that in the last, I don't know, 15 or maybe 10 years, it's hard to tell when these trees will or do come down, even after being diagnosed with the EAB. I've seen them come down within 6 months of it being fully diseased. Sometimes they take up to a couple of years for it to actually, um, um, being ready to take down fully, and then the city will generally mandate that you take them down.
Daniel, I can talk through some of these notes.
Sure.
If you'd like, just to take a minute and then I'll pass it back to you when we talk about pruning.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. We actually got to meet with a treatment company last week at one of the townhomes we're working with to talk about treating ash trees, because that's, people don't always realize that that's an option. But like Daniel said, if it's only an option if it's less than 30% of the canopy has been lost already. If it's more than that, then they can't treat it anymore. So if you're within that window, it can be treated with an insecticide that they actually inject into the tree. And it only has to be repeated every 2 years. And it's actually quite affordable. We got a quote for it. It was about $100 per tree. And you have to continue treating it as long as emerald ash borer is active in the area. There is also some ways to treat them yourself if they're smaller trees. But again, it's an insecticide. So you want to make sure that you're really following the directions to make sure that you're protecting water and insects and wildlife. Ash trees are wind pollinated, and so there's not as much of a concern with pollinators that are actually pollinating the tree itself. But lots of other insects utilize ash trees as a home. So you want to just take that into consideration. And if there is more than about 30% dieback, then it's time to remove it. And you could work with an arborist like Daniel to do so if you have ash trees at your home. Daniel, do you want to talk a little bit about pruning?
Sure. The best time to prune would, be in the beginning of the season, early, when the temperatures are really low, 25, 40 degrees, or, would be nice. But the best time to trim trees would be in the wintertime. The tree is totally dormant. The winter season would cauterize the cuts so that the bugs can't smell any open wounds. But it's never the easiest job to do, especially in Minneapolis, just because of all the lines, the power lines, houses, people's personal belongings, whether it's a brand new fence you put up or people's trinkets that they like and they can't move. But pruning, you want to take out the dead, you want to take out any unnecessary branches that could be causing any scraping. But you can take too much off, and it's always a good opportunity to take those advantages of trimming it in the winter time, so that if you do take too much, the tree can actually handle it and regrow properly. But yeah, so yeah, I'll just give it back to you, Laura. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. You did great. Zoom is scary. I get it.
Only my second time here.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just wrap us up by saying, like, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your interest in and support of our work. We hope you learned something new. We hope you're excited about our programming and the folks we work with, and about the future of Metro Blooms. We are going to drop some links in the chat as resources. They'll also be shared in that follow-up email in the coming days, which again, will have a recording in it as well. The last thing I'll say is just that we really focus on stewardship in these chats and connecting with you all and sharing our work. And part of that is being transparent about where we're at financially too. We have been, fortunate to maintain most of our funding during this year of kind of federal and state budget shifts. The program we run that is maybe the most impacted is our Lawns to Legumes program. But we are also looking for more stability. And in September, we launched our Taproot team, which is a team of monthly donors that provides ongoing financial support that we can really count on as we navigate quite a bit of uncertainty alongside many other nonprofits. We have a goal to reach 50 monthly donors by October 10th, and we are currently at 49. So that is why I'm sharing it with you all, with this community tonight. It's because one more monthly donor with a gift of $5 or $10 a month will get us to our goal. It should be so exciting. We have a special challenge fund for this. So each new monthly donor unlocks a donation of $250 in addition to your monthly donation for Metro Blooms. So just wanted to share that with you all. And appreciate you so much being a part of the community at Metro Blooms. It is people like you, donors like you, as well as support from the state and local governments and a few foundations that really help us create a really sustainable and impactful programming. So thank you so much for being here. We will stick around for about 5 to 10 minutes to take some questions. I don't know if there's any in the chat yet, but Graciela, maybe you could call those out, or people are definitely welcome to unmute and just chat as well. Thanks again. Anyone have questions? Daniel's still here too, and so we can ask if anyone has any tree specific questions too. He is a great resource. Cool. Well, the last thing I'll share is just that we are gonna have a event later this fall, and we'll in person like workshop about trees as well. That'll be focused more on tree education, and so we will definitely send that invite out as well when it's ready. And Brett, I see your question. Layla mentioned climate ready trees. What species might those be?
So some of those trees are like service berries, American plum trees, black cherry trees, black walnut trees, burnt oak, red cedar trees, blue beech trees, northern red oak trees, river birch, hackberries are some of the ones on the list that I made for people who are getting replacement trees when we're taking their ash trees out. I can also give that to Laura and maybe she can share that out in the follow-up email. But yeah.
Thanks, Layla. And Betsy asked, once a tree is diagnosed with emerald ash borer, is there a mandate to remove it? I live in Eden Prairie. If it is a boulevard tree, the city should be removing it. If it's dying, some cities do treat their trees as well. If it's on private property, it really depends on the city. Minneapolis is the only city I'm aware of that will actually condemn trees on private property and require property owners to remove them at their own cost. Most other cities kind of leave that up to the homeowner. I am not sure about Eden Prairie. I don't know if anyone else knows. Okay, thanks, Betsy. And then Greg, we've got the house I'm staying at has an elm tree that's been treated. I'm hoping to buy the house and would like to get rid of the elm to support my garden and add a couple fruit trees. Is that cost prohibitive? Daniel, maybe you could speak to that.
To get rid of the elm tree, is it cost prohibited? Is that what you says?
Yeah, how much does it cost to remove a tree?
I mean, it's a lot easier to go actually physically go see the tree so that you can see if there's any variables as in like power lines, houses or house. Um, it depends upon the diameter of the tree, where it's at. If I have to physically climb it, or you could crane it out or do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter if you fell it, but you still got to clean it up. So the best way would probably to get, on-site look at the tree and to get a proper bid on it.
We did put Daniel's a link to their website in the chat. I just had Daniel out at my house and he removed a bunch of trees for us, dead ash trees. But in general, I'd say like what we see in terms of tree removal prices is anywhere from, depending on the size of the tree, anywhere from like $500 to, $10,000, depending on how big it is and how hard it is to access. It's mature and reaching over power lines. Yeah. In terms of planting, I'll just say that like a lot of cities and counties and soil and water conservation districts do like tree sale programs of their own. They often will promote them in like winter newsletters. And like Minneapolis trees, for example, you can get like $30 trees or depending on where you live, even free trees through the tree sale that I actually might be wrapped up for this year now, but they do it every year. And a lot of cities do similar programs where you maybe can't get free trees, but you can get trees for like $30 to $50. So definitely check with your local governments too about that.
I do have to say that if your tree is exceeding over power lines, it it is a little cheaper if on my end when I give a price, if the limbs that are hanging over the power lines are gone. I have done power line clearing, but that part is very expensive. But you can call Excel, you can call the city and get um, Ashburn Tree Service, and they do power line clearing specifically. And usually that is a free charge, just because I think it's part of the city program to clear power lines up to 10 feet from the lines. So once that is done, then I can go in and take care of the rest because they won't do the rest of the tree if that's what you're looking for.
Well, I could add a comment about that with because I just talked to the person who came out about my tree is all up into the power lines. And what I was told is if I request it, they will come out and remove it, the branches, which in this case, he estimated would be virtually the entire tree because of the way it's situated. But I would have to deal with all the debris. And he put me on a list where Excel works their way through the list and they will come out. And if they uh, do it on their schedule, there's no cost for debris removal. But for me, and this, and every situation's different, he said that probably they would remove it to below the lowest power line coming off of it, which would still leave, I'm guessing, a 20-foot stump there that my understanding is they were not going to be willing to remove. I'd have to deal with that. So it is good to get that conversation, have somebody come out and have them, because it didn't take very long. Once I called, it was maybe within a week or so. Somebody came out and gave me the information and got me put on the list because that apparently was a key step to getting them to do it. So, and I only just had this conversation like 2 days ago, so it's very fresh information.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's helpful. Well, it is 7:08, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up, but thank you all again for being here. Really appreciate your presence and your questions, and your support. So we will see you again soon.